A very good evening to everyone. Welcome. This is Monday night. This is SimRace South Africa. I am Ryan Hill back with you in the booth for another night of racing. This is round 3 of our GT3 Championship, Division 1, of course, the top split of drivers. And we are at Donington Park. Quite an awesome circuit in Leicestershire, in England. Quite a famous circuit. I think it's now owned by Jonathan Palmer, basically. And yeah, certainly looking to get some good racing out here today. It's still in use today in the real world with the Superbikes, BTCC, the British GT Championships, TC Series, and it's formerly hosted some really cool stuff like F1 European League. And a couple of endurance races have been held here as well. There was the 6 hours of Donny held last in 2012. It would be pretty cool to see something like that come back. But yeah, a couple of twisty bits. It's quite flowy. There's some really tight hairpins, which are going to make some really great overtaking opportunities. In particular, turn 9. In turn 10, there's a little bit of a chicane there. You can see how brave drivers might get through there, but ultimately it's how you exit that chicane with the run down into turn 11, the Melbourne hairpin, and then another hairpin in the opposite direction, turn 12, with Goddard's just before the Wheatcroft straight, the main pit lane, pit straight that is. So a lot of overtaking opportunities there, as well as into turn 1, Redgate. And I expect to see some overtaking moves being made around about, probably not too much, well, maybe turn 4, the old hairpin, but ultimately turn 7, McLean's. We might see some action there as well. But I'll be keeping an eye out for that and bringing that all to you tonight. The weather forecast looks pretty dry. Cloud level is 70%, so it's very overcast. Being Britain, it's sort of normal. And it's quite cold. 12 degrees Celsius was the average ambient temperature across the weekend. We'll have a little peak just now in terms of what the actual track temperature is doing, but it does look like the rain is staying away, and we should have a full dry session throughout quali and race tonight. Looking at how the drivers are stacking up, so we are in round 3, of course, 2 rounds down. Dean Norkier in his Ferrari is topping the charts with, 78 points. Andres Sorodio is coming in at P2 with 68, and Paul Fenter 65 points to round out the top 3. But with quite a few drivers having taken some skip rounds in the first 2, it's still anyone's race to play for. And we'll be seeing how they get on in a little bit. Before then, in terms of lap records here at Donington Park from the Division 1 community, Mike LaRue holds that record in the Audi R8. A record he clocked just a couple years ago that no one's beaten since, a 126.35. A time that's a little bit more recent to that. Looking at there, a couple from August last year. Mark van Rensburg's name is up there, Hannes van Veek, and Richard Burris, so perhaps all drivers to look out for tonight as favorites. In terms of what the circuit looks like from a driver's eye perspective, I'm going to take you now to a hot lap guide provided by one of simracing.gp's new partners, GoSetups.gg, and this one will be in the Nissan, so enjoy that one. Right, there we are. We cut now to live pictures. There's about 7 minutes left of quali. I can tell you that Dean Norkier was running in provisional pole position until a short while ago, and has been dethroned by Mr. Pillay. Sunjin doing really well for himself here as we cut through to trackside cameras in his bold, glossy white Ferrari there, taking a 125.92. Just 0.035 ahead of Dean, so super close here. Dean obviously representing, as he runs off track there, I think maybe just bailing out of that lap for Podium Winners Sim Racing. And just behind him is Mike LaRue out there in his Ford Mustang for Venom Works Team 2025. Kieran Patterson is back on track. I think he missed out on the last round. Can't remember if that was due to technical difficulties or due to work commitments, but good to see him back on track in that Aston Martin, looking very pacey as well. Sean Schutter in the fastest Honda, currently on track. Honda, that is car number 9. I'm looking for where my friends are in the Nissans, and I'm not really seeing them jump out at me. Unfortunately, we have a couple of Porsches out there for Fabrice McCarthy and Darren Miller. I think just looking to put in some good laps yet. And then otherwise, McLaren, Sebastian Bourdais, currently up there in provisional P6. 5 minutes left of quali. Also just want to have a quick shout out to all our sponsors. A big thank you for making all of what we do here at Sim Racer Africa possible. You'll see their logos rotating in the bottom left of your screen. We also have all of their details in the YouTube description with all of their links, their socials, their websites. Do go pay them a visit. JooTech Simworks in particular, our biggest gold sponsor, essentially covering the costs of our awesome simracing.gp cloud-based Amazon web-hosted servers on simracing.gp. And also just FYI, JooTech are running a pretty awesome special at the moment. They always have something cooking in their kitchen, but currently now until the end of February, if you spend 12,000 Rand or more with them, you get free delivery right to your doorstep on them. That is until the end of February. So yeah, definitely go and check out their website, check out their products. I know a great deal of members in our sim racing community have purchased their products before in the past and are using them currently, myself included. So yeah, can vouch for them. Real top guys, pumping out quality products and excellent after service support as well. Our silver sponsors as well, ALM Solutions and One Block West Design, another new recent sponsor to us. A big thanks to them for sponsoring the practice servers that the guys do enjoy in the weeks leading up to the races. Right, Kieran Patterson has just taken provisional pole position away from Sunjin Pillay. Wow, that is pedaling that Aston faster than I've seen any other Aston go before. His father, Alan Patterson, is out there in an Aston on track as well, currently P14. I'm sure he's looking to improve for PWSR Charlie. He's just started another hot lap now, so we'll keep a good eye on that one. And also a good livery out here for Alan Big Al Patterson. Just seeing some of the details on the side of the liveries. Some really great jobs. Some of the custom liveries here. It's really nice to see guys put in the effort, and we reward that effort by syncing them and allowing them to show on stream in all their glory, sponsors included. Here's Mark LaRue now being closely followed by Sebastian. Puff of smoke. Oh, and that's McCarthy, Fabrice McCarthy in the Porsche just turned around there. I think he managed to get out of the driver's way in time to not affect things. Dale Price is doing some farming in his McLaren. A nice Gulf livery McLaren here as well for Garage 59. Nice boy, sir. They're in his Ferrari in P12 currently. Just going back to simGT3 here, I'm trying to find out if I have a Delta available. See if he's up or not, but sadly I don't think I have that data available to me. So we'll just keep an eye on it. Mike LaRue as well. In fact, what I might be able to do sneakily is just switch the broadcasting back to a basic HUD. That may or may not, yeah, it does, the delta in the top left. So it is showing red, which means that Mike is not on a valid lap right now. So he'll need to pedal his car around within the next minute. I somehow don't think that's possible, so I'm not sure he's going to get another chance. simGT3 also in the red here, so that's not going to happen. Dean has just surpassed Kieran, so he's taken it up a notch with a 125.74. Kieran Patterson is about to cross the line. It does not go quicker, 125.89. Super close. And he did cross the line. Oh, but I think he may have invalidated. No, he hasn't invalidated there. That was lucky, but this will be his last flying lap, of course, then. simGT3. He's come across the line and has not improved. And for some reason, his delta is also reflecting in the red. So I think his time is done. No improvements there for him. Mike LaRue crosses the line with no improvement either, staying P5 for now. Let's hop back to the broadcasting board here just to have a good look. The clock is officially on 0. So guys crossing the line now. That'll be all she wrote. Dean pulling off. I think that pole position is secure. Mark van Rensburg improves up to P3 at the death, just dethroning simGT3, I think pushing him down a little bit. And there we go, there's the Nissan. Daniel de Villiers slots it into P3 for PWSR Bravo. That's really nice to see. I'm a big fan of that Nissan making a comeback in popularity. Well, not really popularity yet, but maybe it'll catch on. But yeah, it's a popular car of yesteryear, many years ago. Good to see it coming back in the form of Daniel de Villiers. That is all she wrote. The grid is forming, and we'll be back in just a minute, and then we'll have the formation lap. So don't go anywhere. Alright, we are back and we are on the rolling start, as you can see. It's a long procedure for these drivers to get through, but during that time you may find some opting to weave around to try and warm their tires. I always say the best thing to do in these GT3s is literally just to drag your brakes. In that short ad break you would have seen the race room advert, and that is just in promotion of the other championship that we run on alternating Mondays, the Super Touring cars out on Race Room. A lot of fun. If you want to check out some of our old videos in the YouTube channel, just don't forget to like and subscribe to us, and then you can go and check those out. Quick, how's it to everyone in chat as well? How's it to YouTube or JooTech Simworks? We've got Joe Kutsia there, who's amped to race again. Antonia Gamble. Ooh, I thought, thankfully that's Dean Nokia not disconnecting. I thought there was a problem there if his car was suddenly frozen. Antonia Gamble shouting for Jason Farmer. I'll give Jason some love in the TV cameras. Hopefully no commentator's curse. Let's see, where is Jason Farmer out there? He is currently in P6 in his Ferrari. Look at that Griffin Sim Racing livery. One of my favorites, actually, of the grid in this division. Some nice attention to detail there with the pattern and the logo. It looks really epic. And look out for these Griffin Sim Racing guys. There's a few of them on track, and they're all running unique liveries with some different colors, which is really cool. So they'll essentially be in single file here as they're making their way across. They're about to reach the first hairpin here, and they'll be lining up into double file now. And very shortly, once we round the final hairpin corner, they'll be holding their position and holding their speed up until the start-finish line, when the lights will be going green. I'm going to keep the helicam on here just to catch the start. Look at all those PWSR cars emblazoned in yellow, white and black. It's really just St. Palais and that white Ferrari kind of setting those apart. Off we go. Dean in the pink accents got a good start. Oh, there's some contact there with St. Palais, and he's sent, I think it's Daniel de Villiers' Nissan a little bit further back behind, but the rest of the field generally seeming to get away cleanly here. And St. Palais just going farming as well again, and there's a couple of debris and bollards flying, but generally seems to be getting away. Looking at Alan Patterson. Oh, he's getting past a slow-moving hardest Boycer, who's going to come up the inside and have heavy contact. And that was always a closing gap there, I'm afraid. I think contact was inevitable. I'm going to go back on the helicam here. This is Mark van Rensburg pulling out. Just having a little look up the inside of Dean Nokia. Remember, I said these passing opportunities up these hairpin bends, and that's Kieran Patterson as well, just waiting in the wings. But Van Rensburg now for Venomworks essentially splitting the two top PWSR drivers. Oh, almost contact there, but I don't think so. Under the bumper of Nokia. Let's see if we can go on and get a bonnet cam into turn one. How aggressive does Mark go? Dean, Sim Racer Dino. That's tag of the YouTube channel emblazoned on his rear bumper there. Oh, close under braking, and then another bollard goes flying. And Kieran Patterson also under the attack, just running wide a little bit, but almost just really attacking, avoiding action. And a little bit of side contact, and that sent Van Rensburg off. And teammate LaRue will be going through, as does Sunjin Pillay. Thankfully, he gets going in the right direction. Jason Farmer now is coming up the inside. So a costly collision there from Rensburg. I think he's going to try and take the attack back to Jason Farmer. Sean Schutter in his Honda is just behind there as well in the grey and orange. And it does look like Van Rensburg manages to recover in front of Farmer. Farmer now looking to go up the inside, but Van Rensburg will have the inside line for this next corner, but I'm more interested in what's going on behind here, behind Farmer. The Sebastian Bordeaux has just gotten around Sean Schutter, and that was an excellent pass we saw in the background, and there's a gaggle of cars behind them, isn't there? It's Dale Price, Muath Musa in that BMW. Oh, look at the move, Muath Musa, aggressive there across the face of De Villiers. Dale Price going farming now, and that's going to lose out on a couple of positions. Muath Musa gets past, as well as Daniel De Villiers with a flash of the lights from that Nissan. I don't think he's happy with that move from Musa. Villiers is now side by side up with Serodio, just fending off that position actually, really. This is a bit of a gap open to Musa in front. Right now this is pretty much the closest battle on track. These PWSR cars are sandwiched. Alan Patterson is 2 behind here. Andres Serodio in that yellow and blue Ferrari heading onto the back of the Nissan. Around the Melbourne hairpin, they go up into Goddard's now. Onto the Wheatcroft straight. So pit window is open, it's essentially open. Oh, Patterson gets a little squiggly. The pit window is essentially open the entire race. Drivers will need to do one pit stop. I see LaRue, that is Jeffrey, already in the pits, and Ulrich de Jager having cleared his pit stop, as we see Ulrich de Jager himself just running wide, perhaps just being overly cautious with the blue flag scenario being a lap down. It does, yeah, certainly look like he's yielding to these drivers. The Griffin Sim Racing Lambo coming through. There's a Patterson Simworks Racing Porsche in that mix as well. I believe that must be Darren Miller, who is all the way down in P17. Just back up now for Project Vapor car, well, number 54. I say it's car 54. He's got 54 emblazoned on the side. I'm not sure if that's for Garage 54 or what, but car number 6, Musa in P9. And De Villiers again having a little look, winging Nissan back out and in again, perhaps just trying to unstight Musa ahead of him. And he's closed that gap up again, and you can see he's pulled away from Serodio behind. Running nice and wide there into T1, which you're allowed to do. And Kieran Patterson, did I miss this? Was he leading always? I'm not sure he was. Dean Nokia here, as I'm pretty sure he had qualified on pole position. He's under attack by Mike LaRue. So Kieran Patterson now leading this race, and a good considerable margin there. It's almost 1.5 second gap down to the Dean Nokia fellow teammates for Patterson Works Sim Racing. Sinjin Pillay as well behind Mike LaRue. Certainly this top 4 seemingly broken away from the rest of the pack. To a certain degree, that is. Mark van Rensburg's about 2 seconds behind, but there's a very visible gap here. But give Mark some space to play with, and he can pull in some really quick, consistent laps. So not anything to get worried about this early stage of the race. Jason Farmer, meanwhile, is being tailed by Sebastian Bordigo. So the Patterson Works sim racing guys have all got the closest battles on track right now. Alan Patterson on the back of Andres Roddy as he goes farming. We'll flick away from that. Darren Miller also on the back of Richard Bera. You like the sound of this Porsche. That's high revving. Sebastian Bordigo is side by side with Jason Farmer, but he does have the inside line leading into that final Goddard's hairpin. And Bordigo rather sling it around the outside? Not really. He's trying to swing it up the inside of T1 though, but has to fall back in line. Does well to avoid contact here. But yeah, a very close battle, and just waiting in the wings is that giant looking Nissan, actually. Very intimidating in the mirrors, I'm sure. Very overcast day here at Donington. See it from the driver's eye perspective. Just look over the rear wing, there's a big dive happening here. Oh, De Villiers, was there contact there? It looks like Bordigo's being stepped out of line, and there's a little bit of argy-bargy, just I wouldn't say coming back on track, he was sort of on track, but just trying to sort of cement the rightful position on track, and De Villiers muscles his way through in that Nissan. North Musa in that BMW also looking quite looming under braking. They're closing up quite a lot. Mike Leary, I'm going to quickly hop back up. This is the battle for P2, P3 group of cars. You can see Kieran Patterson's opened up a gap of 2.7 for the lead. But for P2 here, these three are pretty neck and neck. On board here with North Musa in P9, looking onto the back of that McLaren, closing up under braking. Skirting those curbs quite nicely, you can hear the scrub of the tyre. And it's always interesting to see how close cars get to the inside tyre barrier here. Oh, that tyre barrier has already been knocked wide, never mind. Melbourne hairpin, and up the inside, if I can get the camera to pan wide, it's De Villiers on Farmer again. And De Villiers has managed to get around. Looked quite clean. He's going to hug that inside line quite nicely, and now he's probably just going to hang it. Yeah, he's going to sort of hover around the middle of the track, is he? No? No, he's feeling confident enough to just take a normal racing line through here. So, great driving, great move, and he's just driving on and away from Farmer for the time being. Back to North Musa. Must say I quite like the non-symmetrical livery here of Musa's car. 54 in yellow and green on the right hand side, and then in white and red on the left. Slightly differing patterns. It's actually quite cool. I like it. It sort of breaks up the front end of that BMW's nose, which I personally find quite ugly. Some others may disagree, but yeah, it's not for me, that radiator grille design. Dale Price here getting past Alan Patterson. I think that was a mistake or something from Alan because he was running very slowly, and Dale Price has some contacts. Got to lever the spacer up the inside, and it looks like that move should be done unless Al has enough of the inside line into this hairpin. I don't know, but Dale Price is running very wide here, actually super wide, and that's not how you defend a position. We will have the inside line now into turn one. We'll flash the lights there. I think Alan's a little bit frustrated from those moves from Mr. Price. Still on the attack here, Al. Big Al. Let's see if we can go on the dash cam. Oh, a lot of puff of dirt ahead. I think that was more Andres Roder than it was Dale Price. Looks like Price is managing to keep ahead for now, and if anything, David Farrell behind Alan Patterson is potentially causing some headaches. At this gap again, North Musa onto Sebastian Bordigo. The battle for P8 continues. And Alan Patterson just trying to have a look around Dale Price here. The gap is tantalizingly close into T1. Who dives at this stage. Running a little bit wide there and having to catch it, I think, and dipping a rear left wheel into the grass. And that's ever so slightly opened the gap up to Dale Price ahead. And they're also dipping a wheel in the grass. So these guys are both pushing, I think, and leading to these micro mistakes, which are causing an ebb and flow here. And there's some heavy contact there. I'm not sure that was cricket, but perhaps a steward's inquiry coming on there. But I think for what it's worth, or regardless, I mean, Alan Patterson has come off second burst. That rejoin. Whew. That was almost a disaster, and I think it was Fabrice McCarthy in the green Porsche that came shooting through, thankfully missing all cars there. Alan Patterson recovers now and has Diaga in front, which is technically a back marker, so we may see some marshals on the side of the track blowing or flying, rather, some blue flags. I say blowing a whistle, I don't know. Not that anything anyone would ever do. Seeing the blue flags yet, but Ulrich Diaga is definitely on a different lap here, and Patterson is pulling into the pits. That might be to repair some damage, because that looked like a very strong knock here. So I wouldn't be surprised if Alan is fixing some damage, has a slightly lengthier pit stop, and clears his mandatory and gets on his way for a recovery drive. Nice shot there of the chicane section with the S's. Quite a fast set of corners, not a particularly sharp chicane. So this is Daniel de Villiers looking to take the fight to P5 of Mark van Rensburg, Nissan on Ferrari. See in the background there, Farmer and Bordigo still at it with Muath Musa as well, and his BMW just looming in the background. This is some of the closest battles on track at the moment. And about here, P6 down to P9. All running very wide to Villiers, and he catches that slide as well. For the back end kick out there, quite aggressively, but well caught. So, seemingly sliding through here, Daniel de Villiers, keeping that big heavy Nissan around, compared to someone, at least what I noticed behind Jason Farmer, his Ferrari, and the McLaren as well, Bordigo looking a little bit more poised and delicate through the corners, as opposed to sort of a big lumbering sideways Nissan. But a fast lumbering sideways Nissan at that. Just recognizing Dale Price, he's popped up on my radar for having a horrendous ping all of a sudden. It wasn't like that before. 800, and you can see the car sort of crabbing around. So hopefully that settles down soon, because that is obviously extremely hazardous on track if he's around any other cars there. I see it's dipped down to 500 now instead of 800, but yeah, that's still very much in the red. So it seems to be steadily coming down, but not that quickly. Oh no, it's sort of hovering around 500, isn't it? Oh. So yeah, hopefully, at the moment, fortunately, he's not around anyone else, but that situation either improves or just gets better for him. Back up the field now, P7, battle for P7. Jason Farmer leads Sebastian Bordigo and Muath Musa. These three have been together for quite a while. Bordigo just popping in and out there, having a little look. I don't think he can pop in and out too much because Muath Musa is right on the tail. Nice view on board with Muath Musa, heading through the Craner curves, the old hairpin, Starkey's Bridge, and now the somewhat stronger right-handed McLean's, and then even stronger Coppice, turn 8. Before they head onto Starkey's Straight. The run down to the S's. Fortunately, it looks like Dale Price's ping has stabilized. Very glad to see. Back down to 54, 55. Stable and low enough to not be an issue. Kieran Patterson is sort of checked out here. Just started lap 15 and almost 8 seconds now abreast of Mike LaRue, who's leading P2 and leading this battle of 3 here. Mike LaRue, Dean Nokia and Sinjin Pillay still at it. blasting through red gate there, turn 2 and 3. Richard Berra for Podium Winners as well, down in P14, is coming up on the back of someone we haven't really seen too much this race yet, Paul Fenter in his Honda. Paul for ALM Simracing. Ooh, cuts that chicane quite aggressively there through the S's. In fact, goes farming now as well. I think that was a bit of a mistake. Fortunately, no car contact, kept pointing in the right direction, and on his way he goes again. But that loses out of position to Richard Berra, who moves up a position to P13. The tower should update at any second. That, of course, is a bit useless. There we go. Switches now. This broadcasting tool is a bit rubbish. I'll make do with the tools given to me. We hope that's something that Assetto Corsa Evo on the horizon improves on. Yeah, broadcasting overlays and tools provided as standard, stock rather, leave a lot to desire. So Border Go on Farmer here, battle for P7. Ooh, Farmer aggressive across the curbs there, and that somewhat unsettled the Ferrari, and the McLaren's going to swing out wide into the dirty marbles actually, and is going to run out of room. Has to tuck in behind, but he's got the pressure onto Farmer now, who has the inside line. Just keep an eye on Musa in the background as well, waiting to pick up any scraps. But Farmer inside line on Bordigo. Is Bordigo going to chuck it around the outside? Look at Musa coming in now. And again, Bordigo's just slipping in, slipping out. Farmer is taking the normal racing line, but that's not really going to work. Bordigo putting a wheel out, stepping out. Musa looming in the background in the Beamer. These three having a cracking battle here for P7. They're all seemingly evenly matched for now, pace on pace. I can tell you that out of these three, Jason Farmer has the faster lap time, 126.42 compared to Sebastian Bordigo, and North Musa 126.6. A puff of smoke ahead. What is happening here? It's Van Rensburg on Patterson again. It looks like some contact there, and that is oh, heavy contact and turned around there. I think that is car number 6. Is that Alan Patterson? The Patterson's being in the Aston Martin. It definitely isn't Kieran. And oh, Alan in the wars here tonight. He's caught up in this battle with the 3, and Farmer's being pushed off track there, but rejoins. Oh, almost some contact again on the front of Patterson to the rear of Farmer. Looks like they've managed to get back in line. So essentially the outcome of this is how that's affected things. Musa has got his BMW up a position and Farmer's fallen back one. And I think that was all happening under blue flag conditions for Alan Patterson, who was reporting a lap down here. Van Rensburg as well, up in P9. Patterson will need to not defend that corner. I think that is what has just happened as well. Into the pits, dives. I think that was Andres Sorodio. So back on these three here then. Sebastian Bordigo still leading, but Muath Musa and Farmer having switched positions amongst the incidents that happened a short while earlier. Project Vapor here, Muath Musa. I'm glad the three of them are still somewhat together though, and no one hit the dust too heavily. And Darren Miller now, the front end and left side of that Porsche looking a little second hand. Darren currently running in P16 with car number 16. His best lap, 1:26.785. Kieran Patterson's best lap time at the moment, 1:25.74. He is now almost 10 seconds ahead of Mike LaRue. Hell of a gap. But Miller now closing up on the back of Hardest Boyser, whose Ferrari is looking a little less second-hand. That's Ulrich de Jager in Griffin Sim Racing Lamborghini getting out of the way. The blue flag conditions. Mark van Rensburg is now also just catching up to the back of that trio, Farmer, Musa and Bordigo. Pretty much halfway through this race now. I expect to start seeing some pit stops happening if guys are going with a little bit of a 50-50 split strat. So keep an eye out for that. I think the bottom four here that have already pitted on your screen, you can see it in the tower as reflecting green. The rest of them have a little orange block with a 1 indicating that they need to do one more mandatory pit stop. And there, as I speak, Sean Schutter jumps into the pits. rolling out of the pits as well. There's Daniel de Villiers and Mark van Rensburg. So Daniel's just come to a park now. Mark van Rensburg is rolling. I'm trying to get a better helicam here. He's also just pulled up for a stop. So yeah, pretty much right on cue. Guys are coming in on the 50. And so the first of the front runners, essentially, that's Daniel de Villiers and Mark van Rensburg pitting. Trying to perhaps do a little bit of an undercut compared to everyone else. It's pretty much on the 50-50, but it gets the jump on the guys ahead. See if that's for the better or not. Oh, I've just seen Alan Patterson receive a drive-through penalty. He's really having a tough night out there tonight with a couple of collisions. Now this drive-through to add to his woes. Will he go in immediately? It looks like he is. Garrett Pretorius. This is for position on the back of Dale Price for P14. Pretorius also in the Griffin Sim Racing stable. Passing back to the battle for P11 here. This is Darren Miller, Podium Winners Sim Racing in the Porsche on the Ferrari of Hardest Boyser. On board with Darren Miller in the Porsche. Comes across the line for a 128 dead. Coming back to the top end here, Dean Leclerc has managed to close the gap to Mike LaRue. He pretty much bang on a second, was a little bit larger earlier. Still waiting to see which one of the front runners is going to crack first in terms of pit stops here. Place your bets. So the top, well, I was going to say top three, top four. Top four cars essentially quite some distance away from the rest of the field, but Kieran Patterson in himself, though, has a considerable lead. It's really the battle for P2. Makru, Dinokia, and simGT3, they're relatively close together still. A second just over between each of them. Just heading back to that battle for P10, yeah.
We are at the halfway mark. Keep pushing.
Daniel de Villiers and North Musa, first of the front runners essentially that pitted early, themselves out in P14. Just referencing where they are on track right now, coming up at the top of Coppice before the main straight versus the leader, Kieran Patterson. Oh, it's almost caught up with them in terms of lapping. Obviously he needs to do a pit stop, but that is a considerable margin. Bill Price closing right on the back of Miller here. Oh, into the pits dives Miller, and that's released Price. And also into the back, in the background, I think that was that Car Pretorius? Yeah. Andre Serodio has found himself all over the back of North Musa here. And this is racing for position, both having passed their pit stops. Car Pretorius and Miller in the pits as well, passing theirs. Kieran Patterson has just dived into the pits from the lead of this race. Makru is staying out there for now. Dinokia also. simGT3 all carrying on. The race leader Kieran Patterson pits. And he is rolling off the jacks. It seemed like a pretty routine stop. And he'll be coming out. Just ahead of car number 23, which is Alan Patterson. So no trouble from them, I'm sure, in terms of traffic issues or whatnot, but seems like Alan's far enough behind anyway to not make an impact on that re-entry there. North Musa. Ulrich de Jager is back in the pits for his second pit stop. Mike Leroux has just entered the pit lane. He's coming in from P2. Ultimately P3 if we think about Kieran Patterson having pitted first out of the top three. And simGT3, you can see, has followed him in right there. So this is where time can be won or lost in the pit stops. To Mark Leroux's car there, it almost just looked like it disappeared. Hopefully that's just, yeah, just something to do with the pit stops. But simGT3 has got rolling before Mike. So that's interesting. Oh, so the rejoin safe by Patterson. Car number 22. That's Kieran. Slots in behind. So Mike Leroux here, I think, has lost out. He's only exiting the pit lane now, so very slow stop from Mike Leroux. And simGT3 definitely getting the jump on them there. Maybe that means simGT didn't flip tires and just went with a fuel stop. Richard Berra also in the pits from P11. But, so out in traffic a little bit here. Dean Norkia, meanwhile, provisional lead of this race, having yet to pit. Top 4 still got a pit. Dale Price also yet to pit on Hardest Boyser, who is yet to pit. This is the battle for P7. 32 minutes left in this race. Who will bite first between these two? And 2 more cars we can see heading into the pits there. That's Fabrizio McCarthy, one of them, and Paul Fenter in the Honda in the other. Meanwhile, these two are staying out there, as is Dean and Jason Farmer, although the Dean heading down the back straight now. Dean definitely staying out there for now. Jason Farmer is stuck in traffic right now with Miller ahead. Let's see if he perhaps decides to pit. Doesn't look like it either. He's staying out there. This is a battle for P5, and there's some heavy contact, and Price is just going to keep planted with the foot there. Not sure what he's doing. He now seems to struggle to get the car turned in the right direction. What is Boyce sort of just hovering off track here as well, and possibly just letting the Villiers through for some reason. It's on a different lap strategy. Into the pits goes Dale Price. Hardest Boyce is staying out there for now. Some unfortunate contact there between those two drivers after such a long battle on track, half the race together without incident. Jason Farmer just getting around some lapped traffic here. And behind the Miller and Schutter are on the same lap, I can tell you that. So they're battling for position whilst negotiating blue flags conditions, and some contact between those guys. And Schutter manages to stay ahead. Miller a little bit second off, or worse for wear there. And a little flash of the lights as well. I don't think he's happy with that encounter. I fear the stewards may be quite busy after the race tonight. I've seen a lot of frustration on track. And the lights continue to flicker there from Miller. He's not a happy chappy. Sean Schutter. Oh, Sean just decided to go farming. And Horse is certainly with Darren Miller there in the dark side of the Force, and seemingly willing Schutter off track with his Jedi mind tricks. Hardest Boyser yet to pit now, still P7, as is Dean Nokia and Jason Farmer, keeping an eye on them. That's a 16-second gap difference between them there, so it's a world of time. Kieran Patterson is technically leading this race in position P3 on the leaderboard at the moment, but he has completed his pit stop. And Sunjin Pillay has done amazingly in the pit stop phase to close that gap right up to 2 seconds, after it was something like 12 seconds, I think, before the pit stop stage. So Sunjin Pillay definitely had a fast pit stop here, a splash dash in relation to the other leaders. He's caught up a lot of time. Sebastian Bordigo here. This is for position with Paul Fenter and Van Rensburg. So the three of these guys battling for P10. Down into the hairpin. That's Fenter, Bordigo, Van Rensburg. No position swap yet. Final hairpin turn. And Fenter keep it up and defend successfully. He's going to have to try and either just run his normal racing line, which it looks like he's doing. He's got the confidence to just run out wide and go into the normal line through T1. Go kicking a tire out a little bit. These three cars are so neck and neck, the gaps here, and they're all pushing. Hopefully it doesn't result in any sort of contact, but they seem to be doing a stellar job here. Paul Fenter in particular defending these other two drivers, keeping them behind. Bordigo just keeps on sort of stepping out slightly, trying to find an open opportunity. Van Rensburg, meanwhile, though, has managed to get an awesome exit, and up and alongside Sebastian Bordigo. He's going to have to leave a little bit of space, squeezes him as much as he can through the S's here, and that is a fantastic bit of racing here. Bordigo is going to be going up the inside of Fenter into this hairpin bend. Keep it nice and tight. Can he not understeer into Fenter? It looks like it. That is a fantastic job. And I'm looking to see if he's banked it, because he's got the final hairpin. He's running wide here, but can he get enough speed and momentum to hang it around the outside and keep that side by side, which is crucial running into T1 here. If he doesn't want to leave the space for Paul Fenter, he can't just drift into another car. Up the inside of turn 1 here. Oh, Paul Fenter almost has a moment trying to regather that after dipping a wheel outside of track. There's almost contact again with Bordigo. Paul Fenter is going to try and keep ahead desperately. Bordigo, and there's a little bit of contact from behind on Rensburg as well. And Paul Fenter's gone off, and I think that contact he would have been fighting the counter steer on that car, and it just caught up with him a little bit, that contact. And tell you what, that would also be really interesting to evaluate in a steward's inquiry as well, because that was some battle there between these three. But kind of all over now with that contact. Bordigo and Van Rensburg continue. Paul Fenter falling back behind. These guys will continue on to fight another lap. Lap 35, Dean Norcare is on for the lead of this race, but not really. It depends on how far ahead he is to Kieran Patterson. He has completed his pit stops in position 3 right now. Dean Norcare and Jason Palmer yet to pit. Just been enjoying this battle here in Silent Sebastian Bordigo on Mark van Rensburg, the battle for P10. Yeah, these guys really neck and neck. Just looking at their last 10-20 laps, they've been so consistent in terms of their lap times, the both of them. So that gap is essentially consistent. It's going to take one of them to make a mistake, I think, to either ease that pressure or to force an overtake. Looking up and down the field, it's relatively spread out here, just in terms of battles. Nokia and Jason Farmer are actually considerably far apart as well, 20 odd seconds. Kieran Patterson in P3 has increased the gap now again to Sunjin Pillay, who had got it down to about 2.5 seconds. It's now looking more like 8.5 seconds. Andres Rodeo, potentially one of the closest battles with Muath Musa. That is the battle for P8. Just creeping up on him ever so slightly. A nice livery here. Project Vapor, yellow and blue Ferrari. Richard Bira actually as well has caught up to David Farrell. Battle for P13 here. Battle of the Ferraris. Just under 20 minutes of the race. Dean Nokia and Jason Farmer yet to pit. It's anyone's guess now if they're going to be running really deep into the race and do a splash and dash. And at the tail end, Hardest Boyce as well is just hanging out there in P7. That is a battle for position with the cars trailing him. BMW of North Musa, of course. It's very easy to spot on track. A little bit of In fact, I think that was Jeffrey LaRue, who looks to be yielding to Pretorius to come through again, which was perhaps in acknowledgement of that mistake. Dale Price, meanwhile, in this Gulf delivery, McLaren is behind, but I think on another lap under blue flag conditions, LaRue is going to yield that position. And again, flashing the lights. This is Kieran Patterson, the leader, coming through. Again, just having LaRue yield that position for our front runner, Kieran Patterson. There's a battle developing in front of Kieran Patterson here of Dale Price and Gerard Pretorius, which is for position. This might be quite an interesting scenario developing here. Blue flag conditions at SimRace South Africa are not like Formula 1 rules. You don't need to just jump out of the way immediately. So Patterson will need to be patient here and pick his moments. The blue flags essentially stipulate that drivers don't defend the corner. So Price and Pretorius are essentially licensed to go racing here because they are for position. They must not race Kieran Patterson behind, however. Patterson will need to bide his time, find the right and safe moment to pass. The onus is on the faster driver behind. Keep an eye on this just to see how this develops. Very close under that braking there, and that's just essentially going to allow Patterson to sail through. So one done, and dusted, and it's just Pretorius now to catch up to a little bit for Kieran Patterson. Quick look at Sean Schutter again. He was reporting a half a second gap to Darren Miller. It's opened up a little bit now, just visually even. So perhaps a little bit of a mistake there, resulting in closing up this gap. Patterson on Pretorius now. It looks like this is going to be easy into the hairpin. And Price and Pretorius, meanwhile, are battling for position. So let's see what's going to become of this. Pretorius was ahead in this situation. And they're basically side by side. Pretorius should have the inside line into turn 1 to be able to maintain that position and defend it successfully. And into the pits goes Jason Farmer, by the way. Oh, there's some contact there. A little scrappy driving. I don't think enough space was left, and Pretorius comes off second best. But yeah, Jason Farmer. That was a super quick stop by Jason Farmer, so that was definitely a splash and dash. Just enough to see him out at the end of the race. He rejoins in front of Alan Patterson, rather, who is on a different lap, one down. So no threat of position under attack here. So that means Dean Nokia, who's crossing the start-finish line now. Kieran Patterson is coming up to the S's. That's definitely not close enough. Sunjin Pillay has just reached the back straight now. Just trying to calculate in my mind where we think Dean Nokia may fall back down to. After he decides to take his pit stop, which I'm sure, no doubt, is going to be a splash and dash as well. Stuck in a litre or a couple litres of fuel, however much he's running on empty. But today, no insights into that from trackside, sadly. And Rensburg rounding the first two hairpins here. Battle for P8 if he manages to close up on Sebastian Bordigo, who you can see in the foreground. So we see some more blue flags being waved way in the background for someone else further. this is a battle for position. Jeffrey Leroux on Uruk-Diaga. Lamborghini on McLaren. Yeah. 12 minutes left in this race and still battles up and down the field here and there. A couple that are hovering around a 1 second gap with Fabrice McCarthy, 1 second behind Hardest Boyser for P14. Van Rensburg's currently about a 1.5 seconds behind Sebastian Bordigo. Battle for P8, and then Mike Leroux under a second here to Stunjan Pillay, battle for P3. This podium position here, so there's still a fight on for potential podium change. There'll definitely be a podium change in the mix here because Dean Norkier, divisional leader of this race, is not actually going to keep on to that position since he needs to do a pit stop. So Mike Leroux here going to be pushing hard for Stunjan Pillay's place. Looks like they're coming up on some traffic. That is, who's that? Leroux. It's Leroux, Pillay, and then who's in front? Need the camera to pan a little bit. Also Leroux. So that Jeffrey. Blue flag conditions. We'll need to really make space at the end of this hairpin, not defend this corner, where he gets very wide, very generous. Keeps out of trouble and lets the leaders come on through. Well done there, Jeffrey. Meets McCarthy. This is a battle for P14 with Hardest Boyser. It's quite neck and neck here in the late stages of the race. 10 minutes to go. 75 minutes long race. Leroux still all over the back of Stunjan Pillay. So suddenly some real close battles have developed here, and on the attack Leroux is. It's Ford Mustang taking it to Ferrari. Distinctive taillight cluster. With the long drag up the back stretcher and just sails past Pillay for an easy pass in the end. The grunt of the Mustang just has the legs. It would have been a good exit as well. And just before the main straight, I mean the back straight, take nothing away from Mike Leroux on that one. Set up that pass. Simracer Dino, meanwhile, keeps on going. It's Paul Fenter in his Honda in the background. Paul, currently the fastest Honda on track, sitting in P11 ahead of Sean Schutter in P18. And Dean Norkier's in the pits. He's basically out of the pits. So that's a 1 liter splash dash. It's predicted. Has he managed to do the impossible? He's come out in front of Kieran Patterson. That is an incredible stop. He has indeed maintained the lead of this race. I did not expect that to happen. I thought Kieran was close enough. Had extremely powerful overcuts and the splash dash. Dean Nokia has managed to keep that lead. The real question now would be, do the tyres hold out for another 7 minutes compared to Kieran Patterson? The lap times. Kieran Patterson's last lap was a 1:26.04. Dean Nokia's is obviously slower, having just gone through that stop, so I have to keep an eye on that, but I can tell you that the best lap is currently held by Kieran Patterson, 1:25.7 to Dean Nokia's 1:26.38. Quickly hopped to Fabrice McCarthy, who is challenging Hardest Boyce here for P14. We'll keep an eye on these lap times for Kieran Patterson, who is hovering around 2 seconds behind Dean Nokia. Meanwhile, Fabrice McCarthy having a little look on the back of Hardest Boyce. McCarthy looking quite racy here. I think Boyce might be in trouble, but he's a wily old fox, knows how to defend properly. Super close under braking. Pulls to the inside, Hardest Boyce to go early on the defense. And Miller there, Darren Miller, is also racing for position. 2 Porsches and closed up on Hardest Boyce here. He's perhaps losing a little bit of pace here, the Ferrari, at the tail end of this race. And tyres, perhaps. But he's in all sorts of trouble now, I think. Kieran Patterson, that time has come down from 2 seconds to 1.3 with just under 5 minutes left of this race. Does he have enough to catch up to Dean? We also know that catching is one thing, to pass is another. The closest battle on track now, save for Kieran Patterson and Dean Nokia up front. I can tell you, while we keep camera on these guys, that Kieran Patterson's last lap, 1:25.7, Dean's 1:26.3. Side by side, these guys go now, though, and Fabrice McCarthy and Darren Miller. It's Porsche on Porsche now instead of the Ferrari. And Miller's actually going to take the position away from McCarthy, and also now that Nokia is not in this battle for position. I think Nokia is a lap abreast. But that Kieran Patterson with the pink accents, the wing mirrors, and rear wing tips is your position for P2, and Dean Nokia here as well coming up. These are your race leaders on the back of this pack. And this traffic is going to basically only help Kieran Patterson, I would imagine, closing up that gap even more. Nokia manages to get across the first Porsche. Kieran Patterson will now be super eager. Look at the lights flashing just to get around these guys. And McCarthy does exceptionally well to, and generous as well, to pull out of that that way. Not take away from leader's fight. Nokia still trying to make his way through some lap traffic here as the Porsche of Miller and Boycer, who are legally entitled to fights. So Kieran Patterson, 2.5 minutes left, trying to catch up. Look at all the Patterson Simworks racing team here, and they can work together. And that being said, Patterson is obviously keen to catch up to Nokia, and they managed to navigate that lap traffic though. And this Boycer goes quite wide, which is going to compromise him heavily against McCarthy, and through they go Darren Miller as well. So anyway, that is the back marker palaver solved. Kieran Patterson, the gap now under a second to Dean Nokia in front with just under 2 minutes left of this race. Fabrice McCarthy, Darren Miller, the two Porsches added highs. Boyce has fallen 2 seconds behind. That's really who's going to come out trumps of the Porsche game here. Actually looking quite racy behind Darren Miller. The Porsche looks to be on edge. Side by side now, basically down the back straight into the S's. Oh, flash of the lights there. McCarthy trying to sort some things out with Miller in the mind games, and he has had a great run through the S's compared to Miller, who dipped a wheel or two onto the sand and compromised his speed through those corners. McCarthy slips past, but Miller looking to come back at him, I reckon, potentially. McCarthy needs to keep it a little bit tight.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap down. Give it all you can.
So we can hear the pit side crew chief just declaring final lap of the race. Dean Nokia has started for his 51 laps down. This is the closest battle on track. I do believe that Fabrice McCarthy has the edge on Miller. So may just end like this. Kieran Patterson now. The battle for the lead of this race has come down to the last lap. After 75 minutes, the clock officially hits 0. Hit Copper's Corner at the top, come down Starkey straight here. Will there be any last second shenanigans through the S's? We are ready with the podium ceremony. It is the Melbourne hairpin to come. Patterson having a little look. I was almost thinking there's going to be a last minute dive. Surely not. Nokia holds his nerve through the Melbourne hairpin. It has literally just turned 12 Goddards to go. And I think ultimately it's going to be a photo finish here for Patterson Simworks Racing. Dean Nokia takes it just ahead of Kieran Patterson. An epic splash dash there. Fabrice McCarthy crosses the line, but it's going to be P3, which is just rounding Goddards now. Mike LaRue, Venomworks Racing, Ford Mustang across the line to round out that podium. St. John Pillay, solid race as well. Flash of the lights, I think he's quite happy with that one. Coming home in P4, Daniel de Villiers, also a strong drive in that Nissan for PWSR Bravo. Jason Farmer, also a great race. I think he started around about P5, P6, so finishes strong in P6. Murat Musa as well. Those guys having some really nice early battles as well. On track finishes P7. Mark van Rensburg coming home P8. Sebastian Bordigo P9. And Racing Radio and Paul Fenter are racing for position here still. Down into the final hairpin. It looks like Sorodio should keep that position ahead of Paul Fenter. They all finish P10 and 11, just side by side. David Farrell in his Ferrari rounding final corner now, coming home in P11. Richard Berra as well in the Ferrari across the line, P12. Fabrice McCarthy takes home P14, Darren Miller P15, Hardest Boycer P16, Dale Price 17, Sean Shitter P18, Clara Pretorius P19, Alan Patterson P20, Thiaga P21, just on the in-lap here, sorry, and Ulrich Thiaga and Jeffrey LaRue will round out your results. And that is it. There's your final timetable. And I'll be signing off very shortly. A big thanks to everyone for tuning in live, as well as anyone who's going to watch the post-race replay at a future point. Thank you very much for keeping me company, and I will catch you next week when we are back with the Super Tours at Portimao Circuit in Raceroom. And until then, stay safe, and I hope you have a good evening and the rest of the week. And I'll chat soon. Ciao, ciao.